Hi, Mark here, Monday, April the 6th, 8 a.m. Eastern, 12 noon GMT. US session now underway. Let's have a look how the markets shape up to start the new week. US dollar index, red candlestick, resistance 100.09, again that 100 level, tough level on the upside, and support at 99.59. Wick at the bottom of the body of the candle. So I think buyers of US have stepped in. There you see, over the past 4 hours, during the Asian into the early European session, US dollars sold off. Here's the fight back we're seeing as the US session gets underway. We'll see whether buyers continue this fight back and look up to the 100 level, a tough resistance level, or if sellers continue what they started and sellers look down at the 99.59 support level. But so far, US dollar has been sold off, and we're seeing the red candlestick on the index. Let's have a look at the S&P. We're looking at the futures market for now. Still an hour and a half till Wall Street opens up, and so far we're seeing demand for US equities on the S&P for sure. I've got support at 6,585 and resistance at 6,648. Resistance has been tried last week. We'll see whether today whether buyers retested again, but a small wick at the top of the body, so sellers have stepped in for now. And we'll wait and see. Again, now the US session's underway, we'll see whether the demand for equities in the S&P does continue, whether the resistance does get tested to the upside. Buyers look up at the 6,700, or a sell-off like the little wick we've seen here going into the US session, and sellers look back down at the support level. Let's have a look at gold. Strong start to the week for gold. I've got support at 4,607, resistance at 4,701. A gap lower to start, but right now sitting at last week's close, already $100 gain on gold. Guys, buyers will look at the resistance to 4,700, perhaps look higher up to 4,800 if demand continues. End of last week, we did see this bearish engulfing, not a full bearish engulfing pattern, the close not lower than the previous candlestick's low. Buyers did step in. We'll see today whether that will so far has continued. The buyers stepped in last week, stepped in after the gap lower today, and will look to continue this with the uptrend, the demand, and more gains as the US session gets underway. Or if we see a turnaround from strong to weaker gold, and sellers do step in at this resistance level and look back down to the 4,600 support, gold could take its cue from the performance of the US dollar today. Let's have a look at Brent oil. Sitting right now at $108.73. I've got support below for the day so far, $106.98. It's just above that $107 level. I've got resistance at $111.49. Gap higher to start the week, and then sold off. There's the red candlestick. Perhaps no news, good news, and that's the reason for the sell-off. Buyers have stepped in already, you can see that, and we'll see, depending on developments today out of the region, any new statements, anything new we hear out of from either side today regarding the Middle East conflict. We will hear and see how that affects the market. Buyers will look up at the 111 or higher, a sell-off, and sellers will look below this $107, $107, the support for today. Bitcoin struggling above that 70,000 as usual. We've got support at 68.7 thousand. I've got resistance at 70.2 thousand, but there's the wick at the top of the candlestick. That means sellers have stepped in. If I go to the hourly, there you'll see there's the resistance 70.2, and then the next 3 hours going into this hour, buyers unable to maintain above that 70, sitting now at 69,500. Sellers will look down at the 68.7, the support for today. You can see though, yesterday, Sunday, and today, price action above the descending trend line, which was in place. Sellers will look back down at support, and then to get back below the 66, 65,000, below this descending trend line. Buyers, of course, will be look to maintain above that 70,000 resistance area, which has been unable to do over the past week. Good trading, keep that discipline, and I'll see you at the end of day.